You are listening to the Mary Jane Society podcast, where you will meet entrepreneurs, cultivators, scientists, doctors, and inventors in the cannabis industry.
I'm your host, Pam Schmiel, marketer and publicist in the cannabis industry. Today we meet Paul Weaver, head of R&D for Boston Beer's cannabis division based in Toronto. They are the creators of TeaPot, a THC-infused iced tea brand they are testing and perfecting in Canada, with plans to launch in the US when the time is right. So far, they're accruing accolades and awards for TeaPot. Great name. Let's meet Paul Weaver. Hi, Paul. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Pam. How are you today?
Yeah, good. So, where are you today?
I'm in Toronto.
Oh, you are? Okay. All right, cool. And that's where the company's based, or not? Boston
Well,
Beer?
Boston Beer Company is based in Boston, but our cannabis division is based here in Canada with the head office here in Toronto. And I'm in my home here in Toronto.
So actually, why don't we just start out with, if you could just tell us a little about TeaPot, why you chose to launch an iced tea brand, and why you chose the flavors that you chose. Let's just start with that is the base of the conversation. Yeah,
of course. Well, I mean, I'm grateful to have the chance to chat, and thanks for having me. So, Boston Beer Company, which is my parent company, is an alcohol beverage company based in America that sells brands like Samuel Adams and Twisted Tea, Angry Orchard cider, Truly hard seltzer. Some of the kind of most notable beverages and beverage alcohol all come from Boston Beer Company. And Twisted Tea in particular is one of our best-selling products. It's a very unique and difficult to make drink, and it's found success for us here in North America. The thought process when we were entering the cannabis division or cannabis industry was, how do we lean into our strengths? How do we do what we do best and bring some of that expertise to the cannabis industry? So making a great tasting iced tea is something that our R&D department does better than anybody, I think. And so there was just kind of a natural extension of that. Plus, there's a really fun kind of parallel between tea and cannabis, I find. There's kind of daytime varietals of tea and there's evening varietals of tea. There's a lot of terroir. There's a lot of reverence for appreciation of tea. There's tea sommeliers, and we do that with our tea brand. So we created this brand called TeaPot, tea and pot.
Yeah,
and the idea is to pair the right tea with the right pot for the right occasion. So we've got varieties of daytime good day iced teas like lemon black tea and a mango green tea, and then we have good evening iced teas that are we've got a blueberry chamomile. We're just coming out with that blackberry rooibos in a couple months that are evening iced teas that are designed to kind of replace your glass of wine at the end of the night. So 2 reasons, Pam. One, we think we can make a really great tasting product better than anybody, specifically in tea. And then we do it in a very uniquely cannabis way, which is kind of telling this time of day story, pairing the right strains of pot with the right varieties of tea. So it's a very diverse product lineup.
Yeah, it's very creative. I wouldn't have thought about it, but like you said, you were looking for something within the company that you could expand on into the cannabis space, and that worked really well. And it's so true. I'm mostly a coffee drinker, but tea for sure I do sometimes, and the flavors do depend on the time of day. A nice afternoon tea versus a nice rooibos tea at night. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I'm a coffee drinker myself, primarily. And when I choose tea, I feel like I've an elevated experience. I'm going a little bit more sophisticated than my high octane pitch black coffee.
Yeah. I usually think of it as a relaxing kind of time, and actually one of my favorite combinations, a lot of people are infusing honey. I'm seeing that pop up in the illegal and legal marketplace. But I mean, it's just so perfect. An infused honey with tea. I don't know. But that you're doing iced tea versions.
Well, I'll
So.
put that in our product pipeline. We'll add that to the list.
Yeah, it's seriously, it's like one of my favorites.
You know, we could do like a CBN honey or a CBG honey, and you can kind of make your own combinations.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe we do something fun on that. I like that.
Yeah. Oh, like just do like a so you don't have to fight with the authorities on the THC levels, but if you just did it as a minor cannabinoid maybe, and then as an
Well, I'm thinking combining the two,
oh yeah.
I could
Oh
pull
yeah.
a can of our iced tea and then an infused honey stick, and then we put the two together.
Oh, a honey stick. Ooh, I like that.
I should be writing this down. I should be writing all these ideas down.
It's like those sugar sticks that you put in. Well, I mean, also one of my favorites that's going to be in the marketplace and that I've been testing is either the powder ones or just the liquids add to your drinks. So that's definitely coming out. And also the droppers. I know I did go to an event the other night and a brand was promoting this, where you can get the emulsified tincture.
Like a tincture?
It's not tincture, it's emulsified, so it can mix into drinks.
Yeah.
So, but that's definitely coming out too. So yeah. But I'm sorry, before I ask you a couple more questions, I did read that you do have a lot of experience in R&D and innovation. Can you just give us a little background on your experience there and how you're kind of driving the force in Boston Beer for cannabis beverages?
Yeah, I mean, first, it's not just me. We've got a really experienced R&D team that I get the chance to work with. My background, I worked in the beer business for a number of years here in Toronto, and then I was working for a cannabis company called Canopy Growth Corporation, where I was their director of innovation for a few years, working on a variety of different kind of innovative product types, whether it's vape carts and chocolates and pre-rolls and of course beverages. And there's a very familiar cadence of how you develop a product development process, from coming up with an idea, can we make it at scale, can we manufacture that, distribute that, and market that. So there's a familiar process of launching a new product that has worked for years in the beer industry, and we've kind of refined it and made it uniquely cannabis, and now we're kind of bringing those two worlds together. So my background is kind of from beer to weed, and now beer weed here with this beer company. And then my extended team includes people who've worked in flower cultivation and extraction, and R&D from a number of different cannabis companies as well. So we have a pretty good brain trust. The brightest minds in cannabis beverages, I think, work here at Boston Beer.
Yeah. Okay. And all those points that you just touched on is I'm so curious about, and how it relates to weed beverages. Yeah. So who is your target market for these drinks? Who is your target market? And did you just launch in the US, or you're also in Canada as well, I would assume?
So we're exclusively in Canada, Pam. So because Boston Beer Company is a publicly traded company on the New York Stock Exchange, our ability to participate in the American cannabis market right now is pretty obscured, and it's difficult for us to really lean into the American cannabis market. Canada, however, is unequivocally legal, very crystal clear, federally regulated guidelines. And so that allows us to do our R&D work, try out some brands, launch some products, get some feedback, really tighten up our new muscle memory here, so that one day we could launch in America. That's kind of the thesis for the department. So we've been doing this now for about a year. We've launched TeaPot, and we found some really good success. TeaPot's the #1 cannabis tea in Canada. It's the #1 edible in the province of Quebec. It was voted a 2023 Best New Product Award. So we've got some really good accolades and success stories behind TeaPot, but we're just getting started. It's a lot about refining our bundle and making sure that we're ready to execute in America where we can get that going.
Okay, I totally I didn't understand that. I thought you guys were already in the Massachusetts market.
Yeah, no, it would make sense that the
Okay,
Boston Beer
okay.
Company
Well,
would be in Boston, and we will one day. Don't get me wrong,
yeah,
but
yeah. Okay,
we're
no,
operating
that's
under a different
that
set